Sabrina Choi. Welcome to this interview session. I'm from Asia HRM and Asia HR Women Club. Everything rises and falls on leadership, says by John C. Maxwell, the leadership rule in this space. And recently, we have embarked on a series of interviews with great leaders in Asia. Today, I'm very, very pleased that we have Ms. Sabrina Tan from Singapore. Sabrina, let me go through her profile, but not a long one. Sabrina is the Managing Director and Head of FX Apex Scotiabank. She's also the first chairperson of women at Financial Markets Association of Singapore, SUBCOM. She has more than 30 years of working experience in global market, although she really looked like being in the market for 30 years. Okay, so good day, Sabrina. Firstly, I would like to thank you for accepting my invite. Since this is an interview with great leaders, right? So I would love to have a first question for you. So what does leadership mean to you? Thanks, Sabrina.
Hi, Rita, and hi, members of the club. Thanks for inviting me here. So first of all, I have to drop the name great. I'm not a great leader. I'm just a small leader. Okay, so let's get on to the question. What does leadership mean to me, right? Well, it means a lot to me. It's about my people, my team, my department, my women committee. It's also about the ability to challenge the conventional thinking, the ability to think out of the box, but above all, it's about building a great and holistic workplace, a community for the people to improve and thrive both in their personal and professional life. So all in all, we are trying to teach them how to fish and not give them the fish, right? So what is my job as a leader? So let us first look at what we need to achieve here, or what do I want to achieve? I'll share an article that came across. It categorizes the 4 key foundation areas in helping employees to thrive at work, right? So one of them is autonomy. When the workers feel that they can be the boss of their own lives, it means a lot to an individual, like for you or for me, to have a voice to how they can run their daily lives. And after all, majority of our which we spend a lot of time in the office and with our colleague. Not the last 2 years, but yeah, generally we do. Relatedness, having the ability to build meaningful human connections and develop a sense of belonging. You want the employee to be part of the organization, and you want them to be part of the bigger family, right? Mastery, to have the room to grow, right? Everyone needs to grow when they start their career. Even for us who are already so long in the market, we still want to have a room to grow, the room to navigate, and ultimately the ability to progress the best that they can and elevate themselves in their roles. Last but not the least is, for me, is the journey that leaders are taking their teams with them in their own journey of leadership. This is important to the performance of the team. Yeah, so basically I sum it out as that.
Okay, thanks, Sabrina. Then can you show us some examples on how you apply some of these 4 points that you mentioned in your leadership journey? Say, for example, how do you apply some of them on your staff?
Yeah, so I would generally, I will have more details later, but we are always working with the HR. Let me just bring in HR now. So there are many programs within the company. So a great leader knows what programs there are, what are the platforms there are, and then you are able to adapt and encourage your people to join these programs. So this helps them to have the mastery. That means you become master of what you're good at and achieve your potential in that area. Then, of course, there are other things like mentor-mentee sessions where you also can help them to get to know each other better, to know their strength, their weakness. So all this will come together, and then it will strengthen the belief, the trust, the faith of their team, right? And the commitment we want from the staff and their accountability for all the things that they are achieving.
Thank you, Sabrina. So I really love your idea about this mentoring, right? Mentee and mentors relationship. How does it work in your company or in your previous experience?
So I apply that on the bigger scale of things. The company always have the mentor-mentee sessions. Every year it is being reset. So there's a lot of emphasis from my company on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we are particularly paying a lot of attention for the women in the mid-level of the company. So we always encourage those girls or those levels of girls to join the mentor-mentee sessions, and they match with the MDs of the company. Once a year, there will be such a practice. There's the sessions that go through, and then you make effort to meet with your mentor and mentee, and then from there you kick off. The HR will provide the main scope of things to make sure that there's a checklist, and then everyone understand where they are coming from. Yeah. So of course that relationship can carry on after that 1 year as well. I find it quite powerful because there is so much to learn from your mentor, and the reverse way, you also so much to learn from your mentee. Usually it's not from the same department, usually from another department. So for that, you actually open up a lot of door, a lot of network. As a mentor, I could help navigate for the mentee. And at the same time, the mentee will also help me understand people at the same level, how and what they think about the company.
Actually, Sabrina, I was about to ask you about this reverse mentor. You mentioned that besides having the MD as the mentor of their subordinates, you also have reverse mentoring.
Yes.
So for this reverse mentor, I want to dig further into that. How does it work? Especially, can you give us some examples that it really works very well in this mentoring program?
I think it's particularly useful when the company is big. When it's a big company, sometimes people at the top do not have a chance to go all the way down to understand what's happening on the ground. So when you have these reverse mentor-mentee sessions, you actually gain a lot of understanding of the process, the basic process that the company have embarked on. And from that process, you will learn to understand what are the obstacles that these people may face. So by understanding the true process, you are able to discuss at your level how to help them navigate through the sessions, how to remove the roadblocks, and how to some extent, have to change policy to adopt to a better, seamless navigation, and this help to innovate along the way.
Thank you, Sabrina. So besides what you just shared with us, right? So in your leadership journey, what have you unlearned and relearned?
Well, there are many things that happen quite differently. So that is actually a very interesting question, right? So there's no one rule book for leaders. So you have to constantly refine your personal leadership purposes in alignment with the purpose of your team or organization. So my journey has been evolving, I would say. So why did I say that? Because when I look back my past, right? The first few years of being a leader, one tends to focus on leading everything, constantly taking charge of everything, ensuring that an engine is running smoothly and seamlessly. But now I have come to a stage where I want to share my thought processes. I try my best to empower the people around me. I inspire, support, and train them in bringing out their own professional potentials and contributing positively and directly to the success of the team. But before I can get there, I have to take a step back and analyze and recognize my own behavioral style, my strength, my limitations. And through mentoring, engagements, and feedbacks constantly, you get to learn a lot about yourself too. But over the years, I also recognize that applying the right leadership skills with different people at various times of their career does make a difference. Actually, it does make a huge difference. You come to understand that every generation of employees are motivated differently. I have to learn what makes them tick, their lingo, their motivational aspect, even their priorities in lives, right? Like what I mentioned earlier, there is a lot of emphasis on work-life balance. It means differently to different people. So we have to relearn to provide them that space to have honest conversation, right? It's very refreshing process to go through. So I hope the skills that they picked up from me or from the various exercises and conversations can help them remove their roadblocks and uplift themselves to the next level of their life, be a game changer in their career, that is.
Wow, thank you. Be a game changer. I think that is really make an impact on their life, not just on their business life, but also on their personal life. Then how about now we turn this question to the HR community, right? Since this is a HR community. So how can human resources professionals enhance your leadership, and what key contribution you expect from them?
So Rita, to me, HR key contribution come hand in hand with my leadership skills. All right. So creating the right platform in the organization for the employee to grow their talent is very important. Allowing to build that capacity and supporting capability, all these need to be acknowledged by the HR. Nowadays, HR is no longer a supporting role. You know that, right? But they are key in contributing to help shape the employee experience. They have to provide the real value and bring sound advice to a variety of topics and conversations that affect the leadership. And within the HR, they must constantly challenge their status quo, just like how leadership constantly evolving. The new era of HR needs to be leveraging on, for example, the AI. They have to analyze data, looking for new opportunities, new ideas, and new insights. So this helps to eliminate any roadblocks rather than increasing policies. Creating a structure and process that is faster and seamless, like I mentioned earlier, in order to allow better innovation to take place. This is particularly true now that we are starting to open the borders post the pandemic era, having work hybrid experience how to totally work from home. Employees will have a lot of ask from the HR once they get back to the office. So Rita, do get ready.
Wow, thank you. Thanks, Sabrina, for the tips. Then now, while you mentioned about this hybrid model, right, that has become a very hot topic, especially how to manage staff performance. So from your perspective, what is the most effective way to manage staff performance while they work from home or work remotely?
It's a good question, but in my job descriptions, it's quite difficult for us to continue working from home because we are from the global markets. So we are in the forefront of the foreign exchange. So yeah, maybe last 2 years, we managed to here and there work from home due to emergencies of the COVID spread. But otherwise, in global markets, people need to be in office because they need to interact, they need the speed, they need the computers, and they need all the systems that they can get on to. Yeah, but if you in general, to assess performance on the not even hybrid from working from home is in fact very challenging because you don't have the human face-to-face interactions. You cannot draw out what the person is thinking. And a lot of time, because you are in office, you meet each other and you bounce off ideas. And that can also show your potential.
I see. Sabrina, I really want you to share some stories, showing your leadership skills. So would you mind if you share with one or two stories so that we know you better in terms of being a good leader, a good female leader?
Well, not quite stories. Not a storyteller, but how I can share is some of how I share my leadership skills. So I'm constantly trying to align myself to the 4 pillars I mentioned earlier. I look for ways to empower the people around me, be it the supervisors in the team or the community that I serve in. So very often I have highly interactive exercises with my team and personal sharing of my visions with my people. I feel that having their buy-in is very crucial as it allows them to grasp the big picture and they can take accountability. At the same time, have them share with you the kind of leaders they envision themselves to be or enjoy with working with, right? So this can help them understand the challenges that faced by the leaders too, when you ask them to put themselves in your shoe. So when you have a very diversified team of race, different age, background, and experiences, different leadership skills are required. I would say that you need a very open and adaptable style. Okay, I try to think that I have a very open style. I have one-to-one sessions with my direct reports almost monthly, often discussing about enhancing their confidence, to forming, to growing, to managing, and developing their own teams. This can be done on the very casual setting or in a formal sessions. And in turn, they can carry out this kind of sessions with their one down. So in this way, they're free to use their own style of leadership, but often the core principle is already ingrained. Yeah, so a sort of like pyramid effect. So this is one example of how I can pass down the leadership. I also, like I mentioned earlier, the mentor-mentee system. So this allows everyone to learn outside of workspace and also discuss about issues that could be personal or about their career in general. And on top of this, I always have ad hoc sessions with the young ones. The youngsters have very different visions and perspective of life. So their view on work-life balance is quite different from yours and mine. So recently, a friend of mine shared with me that during his hiring interviews, a consistent concern or a request from the young graduates interviewees pop up very often. You know what's the question they ask, Rita?
No.
Can I work from home? So there you go. The new era of work life will be very tilted, very differently, right? The other thing that is important to me is trying to build resilience in my people. So this has been shown that organizations that foster resilience have more engaged employees, better productivity and performance. So the skill to face workplace challenges, teaching them the skill to face the workplace challenges, but it's easy to say, but how do we build that? So I try to create the environment when there's room for them to fail and bounce back, right? They learn and relearn the scenario and coming up with their own solutions. You also build that trust with them that you got their back each time they fall. Then over time, you will naturally become candid and honest feedback from them too. So I think it's a very healthy way of building that relationship. So the other thing I would say that how I apply my leadership is, as you know, I come from the FMAS, which I was in the executive board for quite a few years, but does not have a committee for women. So I mooted for one last year and was very well supported by the EXCO. So we now have a subcom run and led by women. So for myself, there are 2 key achievements to this. So for one is to organize events that bring the financial industry women together. The committee worked to galvanize through the events with these female financial market practitioners to increase their participation through the events. and tie them up with the seniors, female leaders in the industry. So we bring them that network, that connection, and help them heighten their leadership at their various stages in their career. I have since passed on the baton this year, but remain in the committee to support the new leader. So using this platform to groom other female leaders is a wonderful way and great opportunity for them to build their own style, their own network, and most importantly, their confidence. So the subcon helps to kill two birds in one stone.
Wow, thanks Sabrina for sharing on the impact this FMAS has done on the female members. And I could remember last time you shared with me a story on how you learned to be a great leader from one of your ex-bosses, right? Because I can still remember the story. I love you. If you don't mind, you can share with us so that we all learn to be a great leader. And
yeah, so I started my career about 30 years ago, and I was very fortunate to be working in this investment bank. All right. I shall not mention the name, but I have the chance to work for a global head who was based in Singapore, right? He has a very interesting leadership style, which I find very encouraging. So back then, there's still a lot of hierarchy. So being very junior in the department, you will not easily get to talk to the global bosses, right? But my global boss have the habit, I would say, or it could be his style, that he will just come and sit down with you, regardless of anybody. He will just sit down with you and then just chit chat with you and ask you about what's going on in the market. I'm very sure that he already knows what's going on. Yeah, but he will give you the confidence by asking you to, whether you have a trading idea. So being young and junior, you want to impress him, right? So you will blah, 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 everything to show that you know the market very well. And then he will say that, okay, take this amount and go and trade. Then you will be like, oh, so shocked. The amount is not really, it's not small, So you know that he has faith in you. So why don't you have that faith in yourself? So I found that what I liked about him is that he do not bother by the status, right? Back then, he already do not bother by the status. He's happy to be there for you, to share with you, to give you the support, and he's very open with his conversations. So that is something that I admire, and I feel that when I one day become a leader myself, or even a supervisor, I want to have that kind of openness with my people, that there's no barrier, that I can speak to anyone and at any level. And I think that by breaking down that barriers, you actually have more people to contribute their ideas, their support, and honest feedback. That's only how we can grow ourselves and our organization.
Wow, I really love the story of your ex-boss, right? And especially you mentioned, I think in this session, you mentioned one word a lot of times. I'm not sure if you noticed. The word is confidence. I think it's very important, right? We need to have confidence in ourselves, but at the same time, as a leader, we also need to give confidence to our subordinates so that they have faith in themselves, so that they have confidence to do what they're supposed to do.
Yes.
I think they're very important. Okay, so I would like to, Sabrina, would you like to have anything to share before I summarize on what you have shared with us today?
No, I have spoken enough. Thank you, Rita. It's your turn.
Okay, so I think you live by these 4 pillars, right? That is autonomy, relatedness, mastery, and the last one is that program? Journey, wow, journey, right? And I understand that you're a big fan of mentoring program. So in your company, it's not just a one-way mentoring, it's both way, meaning that you also see the value of reverse mentoring. We learn from each other. And you also like instill the working environment of being open, and you are more than happy to give feedback to your employees so that they can learn from you, and at the same time you can learn from them, right? You also see is sort of the reverse mentoring I just mentioned earlier. And you also mentioned about this one-on-one session with the employees so that you know them better. I think it coincides with current topic about this hybrid model. Although you mentioned that in your industry, you don't really have this kind of hybrid model. You cannot work from home. But a lot of times, we also, if your employee work from home, we encourage this one-on-one session with them on a regular basis. I think it serves the same purpose, meaning that we need to have effective communication with them.
Is that indeed?
So that we know what has happened to them, not just on the business level, but also on your personal level, because we have to show our care to them. We are there for them, right? So I think this is one of these kind of qualities of a great leader. And apart from that, you are also for HR community, we work together, the CEO or the general manager as their partner. And we should not just play a supporting role anymore. We should be more strategic. We should shape the employees' experience.
Correct.
The sport. And I love the idea that now we all talk about future work. We focus on technology. We should have knowledge about AI. We may not be at the level that we have to develop something about AI, but we need to have this kind of mindset, meaning that we need to use more technology to upgrade our service. And at the same time, we would expect us to create a seamless and innovative ideas for employees. Wow, a lot of nuggets of
too much
overflow. And so one last thing, although you have this shared enough, you have mentioned a lot of great points. But if only one takeaway that you would love us to remember, what would that be?
Especially for the woman, take that first step out. All right. If you think that you have an aim in where you want to arrive, first take that step out. Take that one big step, and then look for a mentor. There are many out there. So willingness to open your mouth. I think the big step is there.
Wow, thank you. Take your step out and then look for a mentor. We have to. Okay, thanks, Sabrina. So have a very good